Hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning into today's video. I'm so excited to be here today because I get the opportunity to talk with Jorja Paraskevopoulos. She has a degree in kinesiology and a doctorate of naturopathy. And we're going to talk about her new program that she developed, the 30-day reset, through her company Infinitely Well. And we are talking about all things protein, nutrition in general, mindset, which I'm really excited about because it's a piece that's missing from a lot of programs that I've tried in the past. Exercise, staying motivated, and any other questions that I had. Just lots of juicy stuff in today's episode. So I'm really excited for you to watch. So why did you go to medical school?
Still figuring
Did
it
you
out.
have like a part of your childhood that like inspired you, or was it like later in life that made you want to go to medical school, or was it like a split decision? Like, why did you go?
I think I always knew I was going to do it.
Okay.
Like, I originally wanted to be a doctor, I don't know, when I was like grade 8, grade 7, whatever. I thought I was going to be a dermatologist, actually. And then my brother had migraines.
Okay.
And so my mom took him to see a naturopathic doctor. And, you know, they did the whole food elimination process and yada yada. And
I did not know that.
yeah, and then suddenly his like migraines were just super well managed finally. And like, his migraines were severe, like sit in front of the toilet, like gonna puke, like just not good. And
Wow.
this guy was obviously, he was drinking like gallons of milk all the time and
Well, he didn't know.
No,
Right?
no, exactly. Lunch meat and all those kinds of things. So like a lot of the food additives, processed food, any sort of dyes we stayed away from. And he saw like a significant reduction in having these migraines.
It's making me think I should maybe think about the processed stuff I'm eating too, right? Like,
Yeah. So like he cut it out, and like he still gets them from time to time, but like
Okay.
now he knows when he gets them, like take a Motrin right away, go lay down, like so it doesn't progress. But they're not
Okay.
nearly as bad as they used to
Yeah.
be. And he makes sure he gets like enough sleep sometimes.
But you like grew up with a really like organic based household, I think, right? Like you guys had the organic grown vegetables and all of the things, and like even your ketchup was organic when you were a kid, you know?
Yeah.
It still
Yeah.
probably is.
My mom always says we're like the first kids who had like organic baby food and cloth diapers. Which probably not true, obviously, but yeah, we were definitely the oddballs out, and we were like, oh my god, I'm eating organic today and whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know, we started growing organic food when I was in elementary school, and then she opened the spa, and that made sense because everything she was carrying was pretty much organic, and definitely was being cautious of like what kind of ingredients she was bringing in, and always wanted high quality, and just really kept in mind the clients that were coming in and the customers, and making sure they were getting as clean of ingredients as they could.
Yeah.
And so probably down the line that influenced me for sure.
I think so.
But I think there was something innate with me that was like, okay, yeah, we're going to, like, I want to take care of people. I vividly remember a day sitting there and I was like, oh, if only there was a doctor who did things a little bit more naturally. And then my mom was like, oh, they do. It's called a naturopathic doctor. And I was like, oh.
Wow. So you just like had this idea, and then your mom was like, yeah, you can actually do this. This is a real field.
Yeah. So then by like grade 8 or 9, that was like the path forward.
Wow.
And like, yeah, we've just been working towards that till.
I thought you wanted to be like a dermatologist until like grade 12, and then changed your mind when you went to school for kinesiology, but I guess I was wrong.
No.
I didn't know that.
No. I thought I did, and I was like, no, I'm not going to resonate with that.
Yeah.
Not for a long enough period of time.
Yeah.
This definitely resonates more.
Yeah, definitely. And then obviously being in school was like really difficult. I can only imagine.
I feel so bad. I was getting an IV yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just replenishing myself and whatnot. And there's a second-year university student who's shadowing in the clinic right now. And she's like, oh, I want to be a naturopathic doctor. And she's like, asking me where I went to school. And she's like, oh my God, did you love it? And then my face was just kind of like, and I couldn't lie to her.
Yeah.
I was like,
Pros and cons.
I mean, yeah, like there was really good aspects to it because one of the things me and my best friend we always talk about is the fact that if that school taught us anything amongst all the things that it taught us, it literally taught us that we can get anything done.
Yeah.
Anything. Like, we don't stress about getting things done anymore because we're just like, oh, remember that time I wrote 11 exams in like 6 days? Like, that's fine. I can do that. Yeah. So if I can do hard, so we did the challenging things and learned a lot from it. We were zombies. We were not human at that time in our lives. Still recovering at this point, but but it was an actual like teaching moment for yourself that you can literally get anything done. So you kind of switch from being like a type A high achieving person to almost switch yourself to like type B because you had to be that way because there was so much stuff that had to get done all the time. Like I laugh with my friends because I remember there being a moment in like third year, I think it was, and I was just like, oh, I'm holding on by a thread. Like, oh, I'm not okay.
So you had to loosen the reins a little bit and just like kind of stop caring as much.
Well, and it was just like, do enough to get by.
Yeah.
Do enough to get what you need to do. Get as much material in as you can because obviously you want to understand the processes and all that stuff. But you're managing 12 courses at once. Yeah. As opposed to university.
And it's all the same kind of goal is to make people feel better, but you're learning all of these different modalities at the same time. Exactly. And some of them work together and some of them kind of have conflict with each other.
Oh, and then it's like, oh, this class for one midterm, it's 500 pages worth of material. And that's just one midterm. And then you have 6 or 7 more midterms to go throughout the whole week.
Yeah.
So you just had to know what you could absorb and move on and what you couldn't absorb at that time. And then as you go through into like clinical practice and actually seeing patients and stuff, that's when you get to refine yourself more and more and see because with medicine and science, it's always evolving. There's new research that comes out all the time. There's new things that we're going to learn. So what I was thinking and learning last week could very well be made to be false today.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there's always new research coming out. So it was great and all. We take in all like a solid foundation of things. But the whole point of when you get into practice is that you have to keep evolving with the new literature that's coming out. And so it was okay that some of the things fell to the wayside and like you just knew that you would pick it up and it's true, like it's held true to this day.
Yeah. So well, and you're only going to have to use the things that you end up needing with each client that you work with.
Yeah, exactly. And like we all kind of you fall into like a certain set of niche patients that you end up seeing. Like for some reason I'm attracting a lot of menopausal weight loss, which has been great. And then hormonal conditions and all that kind of stuff, which has been great. But anything I learned pediatric wise,
you might need to review later.
Yeah,
that
like I just don't. I don't see it often enough. So which is fine because then after I can just brush up, see what the new literature is, and whatever. But you just keep evolving with the times.
Yeah. So the people you're working with the most right now are wanting to lose weight and feel better about themselves and kind of regulate their hormones.
Yeah, that I would say definitely a weight loss perspective. A lot of them are just actually looking to build a new solid foundation. Like they've kind of gotten swept up in life. And so I'm seeing a lot of women in their 40s, 50s or so. Okay. And so a lot of them have families, young kids, older kids, whatever. And they're like, oh, I've completely lost track of myself. And they have jobs on top of that too. Yeah. And so they're just like, I need to rebuild a foundation. Like I think I know what to do, but I need more support. And so from that, we start and build a plan from where they're at, and then we kind of work with it. So if it's needing guidance with what kind of exercises I need to do, then we start there. But usually nutrition is usually the biggest thing.
Oh, okay.
And so that's a big focus on what we end up looking at because it's such a big pillar of literally every aspect of your life. So we spend a lot of time there. And then stress management becomes a portion of it too. And just kind of seeing where they can fit all that into their lives.
Exactly. In a way that's like sustainable and doesn't feel overwhelming.
That's the thing. And it's like yeah, there's all the perfect health strategies in the world, and like you could do things to a T, but we have to come back down to reality and kind of see where we're at. And it's like I work from 7 till whatever time it is, or whatever the scenario is for that person, and it's like, actually I don't have time to do every single one of those things that could bring me to optimal health. So we need to just make sure we're building that absolute concrete foundation, and then examining, okay, this is where we're going to put this is where we're going to do this, and this is where we're going to do this, and then I meet them where they're at. And so if we have to take a few steps back and be like, I can't track my macros at this time, if that's something that we feel like might be part of the plan, then it's like, okay, let's scale it back. What can we look at? Maybe we can just look at getting our protein intake, and maybe that just looks like doing a week solid of just seeing what certain foods have, like what their nutrition value is. So
just becoming aware of it.
Exactly. Yeah. So then that's the education portion is like, okay, let's just track your food, even if it's just your protein that we track, so you can actually learn that, okay, a 6-ounce chicken breast has such amount of protein, or an 8-ounce steak has this much, or whatever it is, and that way you can start eyeballing things.
Yeah.
And it's faster because you're like, okay, I'm putting a full chicken breast on my plate. This is approximately this much more protein. I need to have maybe like an egg on the side or whatever.
Yeah.
To get to my goal of hitting like that 30 grams or whatever protein
per meal.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a really good segue, because I know that you've started a program called the 30-Day Reset. I'm going to be doing it, so I have like a million questions for you about it, but it sounds a lot like what you're doing with your clients is kind of introducing them to this concept without fully putting them into this self-sustained program. They just get more support from you.
Yeah.
But what is this program that I'm talking about?
So I created the 30-Day Reset because, well, originally I created it for myself.
Okay.
I went and did it because I was like, it was time.
Yeah.
I wanted to see different changes. I felt really disconnected from myself, and I was like, I wasn't showing up as the person that I wanted to be. I wasn't doing the things that I knew I needed to be doing and wanting to be doing. So I was like, okay, we have to get clear and make actionable goals that needed to happen every single day so I could get to where I was going and the way I wanted to feel.
Yeah.
So with the 30-Day Reset, essentially it's kind of acts as an introduction as to what your life actually needs to look like on a regular basis. So it's not just like a 30 days and done type of thing, because that doesn't work.
No, oh yeah, I'm just going to return to the way I was.
Like that makes no sense. Like you can't just get everything you want in 30 days and like hope it sticks and that's all the work you need to do. Like it's an ever evolving thing. But the point is, one of the key pillars of it, well, there's three key pillars that happens with this. So you have the nutrition aspect of it, then there's the exercise and movement portion, and then there's a whole mindset aspect to it.
That's what I think is the missing ingredient, because I've done programs and they've never touched on mindset before. And
that's why this, so essentially it's almost like a little bit of a spin-off of a 75-day hard challenge, but not exactly. And so the whole point of it is to do it for 30 days is one, because in order to make a habit become, or make it part of your identity of something you're always going to carry through, is you have to understand that obstacles are going to show up in your life, and you can't just let everything fall to the wayside just because something has come up. And so, things happen. Sometimes we need to like scale it back for a sec, or we have to fall off for a day or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But we have to start building an identity that allows us to come back to it. And so when you do it for 30 days, one, you can teach yourself that, okay, I've done it for 30 days straight, and look at all the things that came up during those 30 days. Because who the hell knows what's going to come up in 30 days?
Yeah.
Anything could happen. And let alone what's going to happen with your mood during that whole time, your motivation, especially as a woman, like fluctuating with your cycle and stuff. All of a sudden you get into your luteal and you're like,
yes,
I don't want to do anything. But sometimes you have to just look at your mood and be like, yeah, I feel this way. I'm more tired now. Sure, my performance not going to be as good as I'd like it to be, but I'm still going to show up for myself, and I'm still going to do the movement. I'm still going to eat well.
Yeah. So because it kind of helps too. Like you don't want to just go, well, I don't feel great. I'm going to actually put the nail in the coffin and make myself feel even worse.
Exactly. So that's why you do this for 30 days straight, regardless of what's coming up in your life. And then if you screw up, you don't do the things that you're supposed to do on that day, you have to restart. Because the other part of this aspect is building confidence and building trust in yourself.
Oh, okay.
And so doing something like this for 30 days, showing up when it's not ideal, when it's not that practical, it's really hard, and everything inside of you is screaming, I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But you still show up anyways. What does that build? That builds trust in yourself.
Yeah.
And that's
like
the evidence.
Integrity with yourself too.
Exactly. And it is a form of self-respect too.
Yeah.
Because you value yourself.
Yeah.
So I show up every day, or as often as I can. It generally is every day. I show up every day because I respect myself and I want to do the things that I know are going to allow me to expand as a human being and keep growing and actually just on a day-to-day feel good, because that's what matters to me.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the aspect of the 30-day reset is. So then, but it's kind of customized in a way that it can reach people at different levels.
Okay.
So whether you're somebody who's kind of just starting out with their nutrition and have no really idea or never really been cognizant of how they're treating their body in terms of nutrition, there's a section there for you. And then if you're someone who's on the complete opposite end of the spectrum and you're like, I'm not new to nutrition, I have specific goals I want to hit, then it's like, okay, let's take a deeper dive into like tracking macros and see what we need to arrange there.
Yeah.
Which is perfect. So that way you so there's leeway, and it can act sort of as a stepping stone for no matter where you are. Because
so like, how do you determine where you should start? Like, how do I know if I'm on this end where I know nothing, or if I'm on this end where I need to start tracking my macros?
There's kind of like a criteria
in
each area. And so when you look at the criteria, you can see what matches you best based on your habits and all that kind of stuff. And like, based on your knowledge and just essentially what you're looking for in terms of your health journey.
Yeah.
Like some people have specific physique goals. Some just generally want to just feel better and like take care of themselves. And that can be like two different things.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So then you would determine your baseline, figure out where you're at right now, where you want to end up, and that would kind of help you determine which section of the program you're going to be in?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And you kind of do that for both nutrition and for exercise.
Okay.
And then there's 5, I believe, key pillars that I kind of want to track everybody's baseline on this, because I think these are really keys to actually being able to move through life and have a more fulfilling life, in my opinion. So one of them is confidence. The others are energy, strength, and that being physical and mental, emotional regulation, and there's one more, and it's slipping my mind right now, but yeah, so you can do that. Maybe it's stress. I think it's stress.
I think it is stress.
Yeah, I think it's stress. And so those are so when you start the program, you get to mark your baselines.
Okay.
And so you can see where you're sitting at, and then the idea is for each week you complete, there's a new progress tracking form, and you get to see if you're making advancement in those things. And ideally, even if it's just by one mark that you feel yourself shifting, that's a win.
Yeah.
The point is not to shift you from like 0 confidence to like 100% confidence. That's not going to happen in 30 days. Like that takes a long time to build. But to shift yourself from not confident at all to
a little bit
of confidence. Like that's a huge shift for
somebody. That's a way better way for me to think about it. Yeah. I'm a very like all or nothing. Yeah. So if I'm not perfect, it's like the end of the world, and I feel like it's not working. So this will be a way better way for me to do things, I think, because they are so big. Other programs that I've tried on, you'll get all the results you want, and they just like kind of try to oversell with all of these fancy words, and it makes you feel like if you're not feeling 100% better, that you're the reason why, and you didn't do the program right. And this seems a little bit gentler because it's this weekly thing.
Yeah, it's definitely, there's a mix of gentle, because you don't have to do it one specific way. Okay. So you can pick the way, like I mentioned, about what is best for you and what's more aligned with your goals. Because a lot of them will just be like, okay, we're tracking macros, we're doing it this way, you're doing this type of exercise, and yada yada, and that's just kind of the way it is. Yeah. But with this way, you pick where you think suits you best. Ideally, you pick something that does challenge you and puts you a step forward. But then at the same time, you also get to look at this like these are just, the hard part becomes, okay, I need to do this for 30 days.
Yeah.
Regardless of what shows up in my world, I'm doing it. Even if I'm going out that night, my whole day is going to be spent, or not whole day, because obviously this doesn't take up all your day, but for that day, you still honor those things you need to do. And the next day, you wake up with a hangover, you still do it. You still show up, even when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And that's how you stop it. That's how you avoid doing the all or nothing approach. Because people will think that, oh, I did this one thing that's not in line with my health and not what I should be doing. And they're like, oh, shit, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to be like that. Because then you're always starting and stopping and stop and stop and stop.
Yeah, and it creates like this yo-yo diet type of thing, but it's with everything. It's with exercise, it's with nutrition, it's with the mindset. Like, just, oh, well, I'm not going to do it at all.
Well, then you stop, and then you just don't get anywhere, you know? Because it's constantly restarting.
Yeah.
It's always restart, always restart, always restart, and never get to where you actually want to be because you think it needs to be an all or nothing approach, when it actually just needs to be a well-balanced approach. And it is more about the things that you show up for doing on a consistent basis than it is about the things that you do the one-off time. Okay. Like if I show up 6 days a week, 7 days a week, whatever, of doing my nutrition to the best that I can, getting my movement in like I should, and working on my mindset, that one-off time that I go out drinking or whatever it is, that's not going to throw me at all. I just need to get back on the horse.
Yeah.
I can see that there's going to be repercussions to what I do, and that's fine. But I get back on the horse and I'm like, okay, yeah, I went out. Big deal.
Big deal, yeah.
It's not a big deal. I'm just going to get back. Tomorrow I get back to my macros.
Exactly.
Tomorrow I realize that I'm probably going to crave crappier foods and all that kind of stuff, but I'll still make the better choice at the end of the day.
Yeah. Just make it a little saltier, you know?
Exactly. Throw Gatorade in there.
Yeah, exactly. I want to dive into the piece of the puzzle that is what is definitely missing, and that's the mindset piece of this. So what kind of things are you adding into this program that helps you with your mindset? Because there's this mindset of like being tough, the mentality of like, do it, keep going. But that's, everybody talks about that all the time. But yours is different. So what kind of mindset work are you actually including in this program?
Well, for the biggest part, and I think the biggest thing that happened for me is, for one, the biggest part for me is bringing awareness. You need to have awareness of who you are. And so this is very much skins the top of it, because this can be a bit of an overwhelming process depending on what people's lives and their backgrounds look like and stuff. So obviously I don't want to just like throw them into the deep end and like crawl their way out. So that's not what this is about. But it's a part of recognizing, okay, what thoughts do I have on a daily basis? What do I think about myself? How do I behave? It's essentially analyzing your own bullshit. Yeah. Because we're all caught up in our own bullshit, and then we look out to us and say, oh, this thing stopped me from doing it, this person, this whatever, like anything. And then we stop to look at ourselves. Actually, we don't even look at ourselves. No. Ever. And then we're like, yeah, my life is this way because of this thing, or because of my job, or whatever it is. Yeah. Some sort of excuse or some sort of reason. Yeah. Instead of taking a pause and actually doing an evaluation of self and be like, okay, how am I showing up today? Where am I lollygagging? Where am I spending too much time where I could have been implementing the things that I say I want to be implementing? Yeah. And so that's the first phase of it, is doing an analysis of self. How do I show up on a daily basis? Is that in alignment with who I say I want to be? Because if every day I say I want to be a fit, healthy person, but I spend my time sitting on the couch eating crappy food, that's not in alignment with what I want to be. Exactly.
You're like not showing up in the way that you say you want to be. And then that does the opposite of building trust in yourself, because you're just dishonoring who you want to be.
Exactly. Yeah. So then, and that's where the 30-day part aspect ties into this mindset part too, because like you said, the whole building trust thing. And so once you can build the trust within yourself, you can move through life with ease because you just kind of know you got you no matter what's going on. And like, it's going to take more work than just these 30 days,
For sure.
of course, especially depending on what your background is. Depends on what kind of community you have around yourself, because those are all big factors in all this. But if you can move through and like look back and be like, wow, I stuck to something for 30 days and that was freaking hard.
Yeah.
I can challenge myself to something different.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the foundation of like what med school taught me, essentially, is that I can literally get through anything.
Yeah, I can do anything.
I almost died, so.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, like you can just kind of get through anything. So then when you get to the mindset portion of this, it's divided into 3 things.
Yeah.
And I think these are the 3 things. This may not resonate so much with men as much, just because of how they carry confidence and stuff and move through the world is different than how a woman moves through the world.
Yeah, for sure.
But so there's an aspect of really building more intimacy with yourself, and it's learning more about you and actually just speaking to yourself in a favorable manner.
Yeah.
Because we have so many things that have happened to us throughout our life, and we take in these different stories and we make them out to be true about ourselves, but they're just a belief. They're not a fact. And so you have to start looking in the mirror and actually start talking to yourself in the way that you would actually want, say the things that you'd want to believe about yourself. So like if you want to believe that you're worthy, you need to say that to yourself.
Yeah.
Or deserving, or that you are the most beautiful girl in the world, like whatever it is, you have to start saying those things to yourself.
Yeah. So that's a part of it, like every day.
Yeah.
Showing up.
Yeah.
Talking gently to yourself, or saying the affirmations that resonate with you and that feel expansive and feel like who you want to be.
Yes, exactly. And so, well, first what you have to do is you have to look at what you're saying to yourself in the first place. Like if you're not keeping track of your thoughts, they'll run on autopilot all the time, and you're not even cognizant that this is your thought. And then your thoughts are going to create emotions, and the emotions create behaviors, and then all of a sudden your reality is formed.
And like if you have this emotion attached to this thought, it's just going to solidify it, right?
Well, exactly.
Because you're like, yep, I was right, I am the worst, or whatever you're saying to yourself.
Exactly.
It's just, like, so not nice.
Exactly. So the first part is like, okay, let's look and see what we're actually talking to ourselves and what we're saying to ourselves on a daily basis. And then how can we start flipping that narrative for ourselves? So if it's, I'm not good enough, you say, I am enough, or I'm willing to believe I am enough. Something that bridges your gap. Because if you've been telling yourself for like 30 years you're not good enough, then
saying I'm good enough is not going to feel real. It's going to feel like BS, right?
Exactly. You're going to be like, okay, stop lying to me. so you have to do it in like a bridge way. But like these are just some of the things you have to start to do. And even though they feel false to you now, you have to keep doing those things.
Yeah.
To keep working at it. So then like that's a part of it. And then there's then the final aspect of it is doing the growth mindset. And having a growth mindset just allows you essentially to look at problems and see them, or bad scenarios that happened in your life, whatever it is, look at them as opportunity for growth and something to learn from, as opposed to being like, this is just how life is.
Yeah, and like letting it dictate how the rest of your day is going to go if something doesn't go right.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's an opportunity for you to look at different circumstances that are happening, or different challenges that are arising, because it's inevitable that a challenge is going to arise. And it's an opportunity for you to look at it and be like, okay, what is this going to show me? What's this going to teach me?
Yeah.
What can I take from this to move forward? How can I evolve? Did I make a mistake? Did I do something wrong?
Yeah, like, was I the person that made this happen? Or was this something that is a pattern and that I need to learn from?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and when you can look at something from that scenario, your life just feels a little bit lighter. Because you're just kind of like, okay, this is an opportunity, as opposed to this is something that's happening to me. This is an opportunity for me to evolve. It's an opportunity for me to grow. It's an opportunity for me to just have a different perception of this so that I can feel different.
Yeah. Wow. I'm excited to do this, but I'm kind of scared because like I mean, obviously my baseline is like, oh, I can't do it because of this, and oh, I can't do it, I'm so busy.
Yeah.
My job is pulling me in every direction. How am I going to have time to meal plan? How am I going to stay consistent with this when every day is a different day? And, you know, everybody is probably relating to that because life is wild, right? So it's a little bit intimidating to know that I'm going to have to, but I think it's going to be really helpful in the long run.
Yeah. And like that's what I've been doing it myself the last 3 days. I have a bunch of people who are kind of doing it right now, and I've already gotten some really good feedback, which is fun. Like, so that's been exciting. But yesterday, for instance, I went to work early and I was there all day and with patients all day, came home and I needed to, something else came on my plate. And then after I was like, oh crap, I still need to throw down a workout. I still need to get another 30 grams of protein in, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's 9:30 at night. Oh, I had to get like 5,000 more steps in because I spent the whole day sitting because I was seeing patients.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, I have to go to the gym, throw my workout in. I'm going to go on the treadmill, get my extra steps in. And then I came home and I still had those extra 30 grams of protein I had to get in. So I threw in some Greek yogurt and protein powder and slurped it back, and you just make it work. And the whole point is not every single day is going to be able to look like that. Like some days you are going to fall off and I wouldn't have been able to hit that 30 grams every time, you know, like it happens.
Yeah.
But during that 30 days, the whole point is to just do it. Like
just do it.
Just do it hard. Even though it's hard right now, just do it now so you can just
prove to yourself that you can do it.
Yeah, and regardless of
crazy.
Exactly. So regardless of what comes up, you know what to do.
Okay, so this is like kind of my selfish questions for you because I'm obviously going to be doing this program too, and I'm going to document kind of my journey with it, which is going to be interesting and fun. People will see me having my hard time, but my thing is like if I don't even know what my baseline is for what my goal should be, if I do want to have a little bit of weight loss with this, you know, just a little bit, but I don't know how much is normal. I don't know where to begin. Like, is it unreasonable for me to be wanting to lose a certain amount of weight? There's no way of me to know. Like, I have body dysmorphia. I have no clue what I'm doing. So if I say, okay, I want to cut, how do I even know, like, how much protein I'm supposed to hit? You know what I mean?
So when it comes to protein, generally it's a gram of protein per ideal body weight.
Okay.
So you can do the whole body weight thing and figure out what you want to be on, totally on like a scientific way, and use an equation, and we punch the numbers in that way and figure it out. But those equations are generally used on like a larger scale population, and they're not necessarily individualized.
Yeah.
So when I do these things, I prefer to, generally we've all been at a point where we've been at a weight that we actually enjoy. And we're like, yeah, I actually feel good at this. You know, we might have put on the weight, but we always knew what a baseline for us actually felt good at.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So that alone can just serve as, yeah, that's what I'd like my weight to be.
Okay.
Because for one, some of these equations will put you so far down at a weight that's not sustainable for who you are. Yeah. And you don't feel comfortable at that weight. Like it's not easy. Like there's a lot of factors to consider. So generally when I do it, it's like, yeah, you kind of have this intuitive sense almost knowing like I would feel good at such and such weight. Like maybe it's 130, whatever it is. But you have an intuitive sense of knowing like, yeah, I could 30-pound weight loss or 20 pounds, 10 pounds, whatever it is, weight loss, that would probably be ideal for me. And that's kind of I would suggest setting it.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then, so say I want to hit 130 grams of protein.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a huge reach for me. I don't think I have been hitting that. Even on the days where I'm like, yep, I'm eating really well today. I'm having like all the protein I can. Yeah. I still feel like I'm probably only hitting like 90 grams.
Yeah.
But if I were to try to hit 130, is this just something that I have to push through in the beginning, like maybe for a week of getting used to eating that much, because I feel like I'm going to be trying to stuff my face to get the macros in.
Yeah.
But then on the contrary, there's probably people who are like having the opposite effect and going, I'm still hungry.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is something that you have to get used to in the beginning, or if there's something that we can do to kind of help with this problem.
Generally, I would say, so when we're looking at macros as a picture,
Okay.
my biggest thing when we're looking at weight loss, ideally what I would like to see is you hit your protein goal and then you stay within your calories, because calories in, calories out, like we need to be in a caloric deficit if we're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
And so if you're having a hard time hitting that protein goal, maybe we need to look at the other macros that we're eating and how much of those we're consuming. And they're probably taking away from your protein, essentially. So, and like, don't get me wrong, there's time and place for all the other macros. Like, we need them, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no doubt about that. But your protein is going to be super important. So, if you're building your plate, make sure your dominant thing is going to be your proteins on that plate so that you can hit it in a way that makes sense. And if you need to, in those moments where it feels like you have to stuff your face and all that stuff, you have to find ways to kind of start sneaking in your protein. So, like I said last night, it was Greek yogurt, and then I threw a scoop of protein powder in it too, just to get me there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a lot of food. Didn't feel like a lot.
That's true, because it's not like a huge volume.
Exactly. But it got me to where I needed it to be. And so prioritize your protein when you're putting it on your plate to make sure you know that this is what's going to fill me up, most of it. Like, this is going to take up the space in my stomach, and then like work backwards from there.
Oh, okay.
So then if you need to get your fat, well, your fats are going to come in with your protein for sure.
Yeah.
Just especially if you're eating a meat-based protein or an animal-based protein. Your carbs, on the other hand, they'll probably be a little bit harder. Like, you're not going to get it from your protein, but, you know, to throw a piece of fruit or whatever it is, those are generally easy, digestible foods. They sit well with most people, and they don't really feel that filling. They're kind of like refreshing to eat. Like, your body just naturally enjoys eating them.
Yeah.
And so you can digest it better and doesn't feel as filling.
Yeah. Like,
so if you're kind of cognizant of the foods that you are eating, then it just gets a little bit easier, in my opinion. That's been my experience. So, and then, and the other aspect of that too is, okay, if we're trying to hit a certain goal and we're staying in our calories and we're eating, and every time we're eating we just feel full already, that probes us to go down another track of looking what's going on digestively. Are we having bowel movements all the time? Like, or are we feeling full all the time because we're not evacuating properly? Are we bloating right away because there's something else going on?
Maybe that's what's going on. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So, like, is there something else that's happening for you at that time? And you need to be looking at that picture too. So when you do eat, it's important to be intuitive and see how your body is feeling when you're eating. So if you're eating your food and you had 2 bites and suddenly your stomach's out to here,
something's going on.
That tells you something different. And it's not about the protein and the food and how much you're eating. I mean, unless you shovel it back, but like, ideally you're not. And so if it's not one of those things, then we start looking, okay, what's happening digestively? Because most of us do have something that's going on digestively, just in this day and age. So we have to look at those things too.
Wow, I didn't even like think about that. And it's funny because I've been down that road so many times, and I'm just like, oh, duh. Of course. Maybe it's because my digestive system doesn't love me right now.
Yeah.
And then what if you are not used to eating in this way and you are having a hard time like getting into the whole foods and getting into the ingredients? Like, do I even know what to go buy? How do I know what has good protein amounts in it? How do I know like to sneak in extra protein? There are some people who might not have any idea.
Yeah. And so I have within my program, I have like a grocery list, and it's divided up based on macros and stuff. So within that, you'll see good options for protein, good options for carbs and for fats, and then miscellaneous things that you may want to add to. And you don't have to stick to those things 100%.
Okay.
But you can definitely use this as a guide when you're like, I need a good source of protein. But for the most part, you are always going to get your most bang for your buck doing an animal-based protein.
Okay.
Just from an aspect of it being more bioavailable, which means our body's able to absorb it and utilize it. You'll likely do better with those. And so that would look like your beef, your chicken, turkey, pork if you want to. Then you can look at dairy products. So then you can look like a whey protein, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, plain, like those are all really good options for it too. And they don't necessarily, and the nice part is that they don't actually have to be that high volume for you to get a lot. Like one serving, I'm not even, it's maybe a little bit more than a serving, but 100 grams of protein or of ground beef, let's say, you're looking at getting anywhere between like 20 to 30 grams of protein just in that, which is not.
That's wild.
And it's not really a lot of food.
No.
You're still, I mean, I'm still hungry when I eat that. So.
Yeah, but, I mean, I think you're so used to it because you've been doing this on your own and everything for such a long time, which is awesome. Like, you are motivation for me because I'm like, okay, this clearly is working for you. I've seen a completely different version of you. I know you really well. Yeah. And, like, if I compare you to before you started doing this program for yourself to now, you are completely more confident. You're a lot more aware of what you're saying to yourself. You're a lot healthier. You're just like more consistent with yourself. It's awesome. Like, I really love it.
And like that's the beauty of it all was I taught myself how to stick to the thing. Did the hard thing. I understand who I am as a person. And when I was in school, I didn't know who I was, really. Like, I was just holding on for dear life, essentially. Just trying to get through as much as I could.
Yeah.
And because it was a super challenging time in my life, like, I was very, like I said, I was super disconnected from myself. So this was the only way I could do it to, like, actually get back to who I was. I needed to learn what I actually liked, what I thought was true for me, and the way I wanted to speak about myself and what I wanted to believe, because we should all speak highly of ourselves. That's like, we should.
I know. It's like, oh God.
That's just our like innate of how we were born. And like, yeah, we go through things and it might make us think differently, but ultimately we need to be speaking highly of ourselves. Because what's the alternative? The alternative is to speak like shit.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, oh, you're not getting anywhere with that. You don't get anywhere with that. You keep repeating. You keep repeating the same stupid shit all over again. Yeah. And so if this can teach you anything, it's that you need to face your own bullshit, because a lot of what you're doing is bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
And you're so used to like feeling a certain way that you think that it's normal. So I'm like, well, it's so much easier for me to just like go get this for food, or it's so much easier for me to just skip a workout because whatever, I feel fine. I feel fine is like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And in reality, like, it's probably not the ideal way to feel.
Yes, and that's the hardest part. And sometimes that's the biggest disconnect, is people have never actually felt the alternative. They have, for as long as they can remember, they have felt the state that they are in now. And that's probably a state of feeling sluggish.
Yep.
Anxiety.
Yep.
Maybe a bit of depression.
Yeah.
And these aren't things to be ashamed of. They're just things to be aware of. And to see, where is your role in all this?
Yeah.
And so if you're the type who's experiencing, let's call them lesser quality emotions, as opposed to the opposite, which is more confidence, joy, and abundance, then we need to start looking at, where is my role in this? And for me, a big part of that, because there's literally scientific evidence for this, but the types of food you put in your body, it literally changes your brain chemistry.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, when you say it, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Like, higher quality food, higher quality living.
Exactly.
But every time I find something out about like the way that the digestive system works with the brain, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, and you don't have to overcomplicate this by any means.
Okay.
Like, you really don't. Get your protein. Stop eating food out of a box as much as you can. Like, honestly, out of a package, like, as much as you can, avoid it.
Yeah.
Get your protein in from ideally animal-based, if you can.
Yeah.
If not, then obviously use whole foods to get it, like if you're going to do your legumes, lentils, and all that kind of stuff. And
which are great, too.
Yes, those are good options as well. You can do it that way. But stop eating shit out of a box.
Yeah.
Because that stuff, your ingredient list is this freaking long. And then you're like, why do I feel like crap?
You're just like pumping yourself full of stuff and you can't even read half the ingredients some of the times.
Exactly.
It's really been freaking me out lately.
Exactly. So like, this doesn't have to be a complicated thing. Even if you wanted to like not do the whole macro tracking, like you wouldn't have to. If you actually just listen to your body, listen to its hunger cues, listen to how it feels when you're done eating that meal, you'll be like, oh yeah, I feel really good after I ate that, or I feel really lethargic. I need to go lay down. My stomach hurts, like whatever. And you're just like, okay, yeah, maybe that wasn't the right food for me.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
You know,
just becoming
like,
aware.
It is. It's a big process of bringing awareness to yourself because your body knows how to do these things.
Yeah.
100%. And if you have certain physique goals and all that kind of stuff, then yeah, you branch into the macros and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, your body knows what's good for it. And
we just have to listen.
It will reject what it doesn't want.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it. Just get clear on your own bullshit. Know what you're doing. Know how you're treating your body.
Yeah.
Start looking at your days. See how you're filling them. And see where you could have been doing the things you said you were going to be doing.
Yeah.
And then, so you do the hard thing. That's the hard part of it all, right? Figuring out how you're going to fit this in. Overcome the cravings. Overcome the urges, like all the things, right? Because they're all existent, and if you think they're not existent in me, they are.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I know. I know. But people watching are probably like, no, she's perfect. She does everything right. Like,
no.
This is easy for her. No.
No, I was really struggling with many eggs for a bit.
Same.
Victim, but
I think about them every day.
Yes. So, like, finally kicked that. But those things happen. And so I was eating well throughout the day.
Yeah.
And I'd reach for the mini egg, and that's fine. I'm fine. I'm living. I'm breathing. Everything's fine. So
yeah,
I don't get that stressed out
not
about
the end of the world.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Because yes, do the hard things so that you can build the confidence in yourself, and you can move through life a lot better, and you can chase after goals this way too. Because when you ultimately start to feel better, you have the motivation.
What else can I do?
Exactly. The motivation comes in. When you learn that you can overcome challenges all the time, it's like your body wants to be challenged. Challenge it.
Okay.
Even if it's to do something different in the gym. You want to learn to do a pull-up. Try to do a muscle-up. Maybe it's even just a push-up alone. Like, whatever it is. But your body is designed to be challenged. Like, how do you think a muscle grows? Because it's challenged.
Through that tension. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's designed that way. So do the challenging thing. But then you do the hard thing. You show up consistent. You show that self-respect to yourself and all that really great things that are going to propel you through life and whatnot. But the other aspect is also don't remember to do the fun thing. Because that part matters a lot too.
Yeah.
Because I'll be really thankful that at the end of my life, whenever that is, I'll be thankful that, I stuck to the things I said I was going to do, and I pursued my goals and my dreams and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, if I do all that things and none of that was fun doing it, what the hell's the point of that?
What was the point? Yeah.
Exactly. So make sure that
you're enjoying life.
You're really enjoying things.
Yeah.
Because and that's one thing that school taught me, because I was so in deep and it was a long time and you couldn't be a human. Like, it was just...
Yeah. You were just literally a robot for like 8 years.
100%. And I sacrificed a lot of things, and I couldn't do a lot of fun things, and I was basically in survival mode the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've been able to step away from that, obviously, now I'm like, okay, now I really want to prioritize the fun in my life.
Yeah.
And when I do the things that I do, like in terms of eating well and showing up for myself every day, moving my body, challenging myself, whatever, the fun things get to be more fun, and I get to have more of those things.
Yeah.
Because
I think that's probably the most like misunderstood part about doing a reset program or any kind of nutrition or exercise program. People think like, well, great, now I can't go do the things that I love to do because they're not good for me. But then you're just like perpetuating this reason for you to not even start in the first place.
Exactly. And like that's the whole thing. A lot of people look at health like it's all or nothing. It's not all. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. And by all means, if you are the all or nothing and you want to just like pursue health to its fullest and biohack your way through life, go for it.
Yeah.
But there's also to be something said that, yeah, like I like to exercise as much as I can. I want to do all those things, and I want to make sure my mind is healthy and all that kind of stuff. But I want to make sure I have a lot of fun now too.
Yeah.
Because
life is meant to be enjoyed.
Exactly.
Like 100%.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I love this so much. So if anybody wants to try to do this program with you, or wants to just talk to you in general, become maybe a client of yours, work one-on-one, how can people reach you and get in touch with you?
They can find me on my Instagram.
Okay.
At Infinitely Well.
Okay. I'll
link
it. Yeah,
somewhere.
I'll link it in the description.
So they can find me there for the most part. They can DM me whatever they want to do. That's fine with me. And I'm also at Valero Wellness in Tecumseh.
Great.
So they can also work with me there. But yeah, whatever they want.
Yay. Yeah, I know you're scheduling up. The link is on your bio, I think, on your Instagram as well. So
yes, exactly.
Yeah, everybody reach out to her. I'm excited to start the 30-day reset with Jorja, so we'll see. I'm going to tell you guys how I feel at the beginning, at the end. I'll kind of show you guys a little bit of tidbits of what I'm doing through it, but I'm excited to start. Probably should have started a couple of days ago, but
it's okay. Sometimes
you know,
we need a running job. But that's
up.
the thing. And that's the other part of this too, is there's never a right time to start something like this. And that's the one thing we all need to keep in mind. There's never a right time for anything. There's just now.
Yeah.
And you just jump in and you do it.
Do it. Yeah.
And you keep moving forward. You learn from your mistakes. You learn through whatever, and you just keep moving forward. And you refine yourself as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, so motivational.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for being here and talking with me and yapping for, I'm thinking about an hour we've been talking.
Oh my God.
I think so.
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
It was awesome. Wasn't that amazing? I loved every moment of the interview. I feel like I am so much more motivated to actually start the program. I'm really excited for you guys to follow along on the journey with me. I'm going to be posting maybe some of the meals that I create throughout it. Maybe I'll post some clips of me exercising. We'll see. I'm a little bit self-conscious with that, so. And I'll be walking you guys through how I feel week to week and just talking about how much I'm loving the program. I know I'm going to love it, and I think you're going to love it too. So if you want to get in touch with Jorja, you can find her link to her Instagram in the description below, and definitely reach out to her. She's awesome. Thank you so much again, Jorja, for being a part of this video and for sitting down with me today. I'm so lucky to have had the chance to talk with you. If you loved this video, like, share with somebody who you think might benefit from hearing the messages in it. Comment some of the things that you loved that we talked about. Ask questions, reach out to either me or Jorja, and subscribe, all of the things. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next one.